Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and before we get into today's video, I want to quickly say thank you guys for all the subscribers. We were celebrating 300 subscribers Friday, and we are at, last time I checked, 354, I think, and we are just, it's not showing a sign of stopping, so I can't thank you guys enough for all you new subscribers, all you people that share my videos and share my channel, and all you old subscribers too. I wouldn't be here without you guys, and we're about to hit 400. And I'm already having to think about what I'm going to do for 400 subscribers, so tell me what you guys want to see for 400 down in the comment section below, and I guess I'll get started on making preparations for that, because good God, if it keeps going at this rate, we'll be at 400 Thursday, which would be awesome if we actually hit that. But you know, YouTube is a strange animal. But anyway, so today's video is my top 10 battleships. Not top 10 premiums, not top 10 tech lines, not top 10 tier 10, not top 10 tier 9s. This is my top 10 battleships out of the entire game. These are the ships that I fell in love with, that I played, you know, a lot. I play these ships a lot. These are usually the ships that I take out. And it was really hard for me to narrow this list down to just 10 ships. When I get done grinding up a tech line, I save all the ships that I enjoyed, you know, grinding through. And that has left me with 44 ships in my port. And it was hard for me to cut through all these ships and get it down to just 10. So keep in mind, if a battleship isn't on this list, that doesn't mean it's not good. These 10, in my opinion, are the cream of the crop. These are the best battleships you can get in the game. And yeah, some of them are premium, some of them are tech line. So me putting a ship on this list means I fully endorse you spending the money or the time it takes to either grind out these ships or purchase the ships, because, you know, like I said, a good bit of these are premium ships. And like I said, you know, if a ship's not on this list, that by no means doesn't mean it's a bad ship. It just, you know, it's just not one of my favorite ships, because these 10 are some of my favorite ships in the game. I had to leave a couple of my, you know, favorite ships out of this list too, simply because I just couldn't narrow it down to just 10, but I had to, because, you know, it's a top 10 video. But, you know, it's such is life. And again, this is all 120% my opinion, so we can have different opinions and still get along, so there's no need to, you know, get triggered in the comment section or anything. But if you want to open up a discussion about a ship or something, you know, ask me why I didn't put a ship on the list, I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you in the comment section, because that's what I like. I like having conversations with you guys. I like to be able to have a civil discussion, just to prove that if people have different opinions, they can still get along. But anyway, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into number 10, which is the German tier 3 battleship, the Nassau. However you say that. This ship, I don't play at tiers below 5 a lot, you know, because I enjoy higher tier gameplay. But this is my only tier 3 ship that isn't a premium that I still have, because it's just so much fun to play. You just point the pointy end of the ship toward the enemy ship and just keep going at them. No need to let up on the brakes or anything. And, you know, this is, you know, the Nassau is, of course, a Dreadnought era battleship, and, you know, so that means she has a ton of guns on her, and, you know, she's got freaking 6 turrets on her, 2 guns per turret. That's 12 guns at tier 3. That's great. And then she's got a ton of secondary strapped into her sides, and they're by no means, or no stretch of the imagination, accurate. But boy, is this a fun ship just to get in and just mess around in. And, you know, the grind in her was amazingly fast and fun for me, at least. And like I said, I've kept her. This is the only tier 3 tech ship that I still have in my port, so she's pretty fun. You know, the turret layout, it really goes to your advantage, because you can have 3 turrets aiming forward in the front, and then another 3 aiming back in the back, so you can bow tank, and, you know, you still have a fair amount of firepower on your side. And then that just means, you know, when you manage to get a broadside in her, it's a really heavy broadside for tier 3. A total of 4 turrets or 8 guns on a broadside. that's no slouch. You know, even with the guns only being 283 millimeter, that they still pack a punch when they connect. And like I said before, she has really nice secondaries. You know, you really get a good taste of the German line when you play the Nassau for the first time. And yeah, you know, she's a German battleship. I love German battleships. There's quite a few other German battleships on this list. But anyway, moving on to number 9, which is the Tier 6 French premium battleship Dunkirk. I know, surprisingly, I was shocked to hear that a lot of people don't really like Dunkirk. I like her a lot. She was one of the first premiums that I bought that I didn't know a whole lot about the ship. You know, I didn't know a whole lot, like, what it was about, you know, how she played and whatnot. I mean, I knew from, I think I was watching a video to her, I knew she had really weak sides, but, you know, she had that really, no, this is before the French battleship line was even out. You know, she had the 2 turrets in the front with 4 guns per turret, and that was pretty unique back then. I mean, it's still pretty unique now. Only Dunkirk, Richelieu, and then Jean Bart, or Jean Bar, however you say that ship's name. When she comes out, they'll be the only 3 ships in the game with that turret setup. Well, the only 3 battleships in the game with that turret setup. And yeah, she's really, really good at punishing destroyers. You catch cruisers. If you catch a cruiser broadside and, you know, you're within medium to close range, that they're gonna feel the pain. She has, I would say, okay AA. I mean, for Tier 6, and it's not bad if you build into it, which I wouldn't recommend. It's just that I didn't really know what to do with the ship, so I went with my usual AA/secondary build on it, and I managed to get some pretty decent AA for Tier 6 in the ship. But I wouldn't recommend a secondary build in a ship. You should definitely put all your captain points into the main guns, you know, getting those guns to either rotate faster, reload faster, and all that jazz. And from the front, she can tank pretty dang good. She can get up tier to Tier 8, and that does kind of become a problem because the ship is real squishy when you get up tiered. But the guns still pack a punch because they are only what are they? Yeah, they're 330 millimeters. They're small, but dear God, they pack a punch because she has that French velocity. So, you know, if a Tier 8 slips up, shows you their broadside, ooh, it's going to sting real nice for them. And she's also really freaking fast for Tier 6. She can get a 29.5 knots at Tier 6. Holy crap, is that fast for battleships at Tier 6. Yeah, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun in the Dunkirk, and I've continued to have a lot of fun in the Dunkirk. Anyway, moving on to number 8, which is the Tier 6 American premium battleship, the Arizona. And this ship is freaking a tank. You can get up tier to Tier 8 in this thing and still take quite a beating and just come back for more. She has really nice firepower with, you get 12 356 millimeter guns. The turrets do take an eternity to turn, but I mean, it's Tier 6. What do you want? She has a really nice torpedo protection too at, what is it, 50, not 50, I'm sorry, my bad, 39% for a Tier 6. That's not, you know, that's no slouch at Tier 6 either, especially for the American battleship line. And she's way faster than the other American battleships, with a maximum speed of 21 knots rather than an even 20 knots at Tier 6. I mean, from friggin' Tier 4 up to Tier not even Tier 4, from Tier 5 to Tier 7, you're stuck at 20 knots in the American battleship line, and my God, do you notice it at Tier 7, because you're just so slow compared to the other battleships. So Arizona does go a blazing 1 knot faster. Unlike the American line, she doesn't have really strong AA. She has slightly better secondaries than the other American battleships at this line, at this tier. But I mean, you know, they're not like German level secondaries, but they're not bad. You know, they're actually useful sometimes. And yeah, if you get in a good, nice tanking position, bow on with this ship, you're going to do some damage to other battleships at her tier and even above. Anyway, moving on to number 7, which is the Tier 8 American premium battleship, Alabama. Boy, this ship's got some really nice dispersion on her guns. You get three 16-inch guns, and she's got quite the range. I believe you can get it out to over 20 kilometers with the spotting plane. And this is more of a sniping battleship per se. Her guns are better than the North Carolinas in terms of accuracy and dispersion. And she has god tier AA. I have an AA built on this thing, and my AA rating is well over 100. She also has really good torpedo protection at 50% at tier 8. That's really freaking good. In one of my reviews, you see me eat a torpedo, my torpedo protection, and it takes like maybe 3 pixels of health off the ship. She's also really stealthy, you know, just like the rest of the American battleship line. I don't even have a concealment build on her. Yeah, I have the module, but I don't have the concealment on skill on my captain, and her detection range is only, I believe, 13-ish. Yeah, but I see 14.1 kilometers without the captain skill on. So you throw the captain skill on there, that's going to go down even more. And she's also, you know, she does have 32mm armor all the way around, so that is a bit of a drawback. But she's still pretty fun to play. She's not the fastest ship ever at tier 8, coming in at a blazing hot 27.5 knots. I mean, thank God it's faster than the tier 7 American battleship, the Colorado, which comes in at 20 knots. So, not too bad if you've been playing the American line up to tier 7. But yeah, the Alabama's a pretty good all-around. If you like playing the long game more and battleships, you like that sniping gameplay, the Alabama is definitely the ship for you. Anyway, moving on to number 6, which is our first tier 10 battleship, which is the tier 10 French battleship Republic. Now the Republic, you know, a lot of people give the Republic a lot of hate for her only having 2 turrets, but it's a welcome change for me. It really mixes up the tier 10 battleship gameplay, because, you know, all the other tier 10s, it's either the 3x3 or the 4x3 turret setup, and a 2x4, you know, because there's 4 guns per turret. This is quite a refreshing ship for tier 10. She's fast. She's got really good secondaries. They're even better than the Curve First in terms of DPM and time to kill. I actually ran a test on that. I was shocked to see that her secondaries did outperform the Curve First. But her secondaries don't have a lot of health. It won't take much for you to lose, you know. Almost half your secondaries pretty dang fast. But her strong suit by far is her guns. She gets 17.5-inch guns with a 20-second reload if you throw the reload module on the ship, and then you throw the French captain, the Jean. Oh, pardon my pronunciation here. Jacques Honore, however you say his name, with the modified adrenaline rush, and then of course this ship does have 32mm armor all the way around. The way this thing eats HE and AP, you're gonna get your reload well down below 20 seconds with 17.5-inch guns. That is a lot of firepower coming out very rapidly. Ship's also very fast. She's not really that stealthy, 15.1 kilometers. So, you know, not as stealthy as some of the other tier 10s, but by no means. It can't be seen from space like the Curve First, at least. She's also, if you build whatever you build the ship for, she'll be pretty good in it. She's what I like to call a modular battleship. So I have a secondary battery build on her. So she's a really strong in those 2 departments, but you can also go for an AA build, and that really will bump the AA up. I have a secondary build on her right now, and her AA rating is 100, so I can only imagine if I actually go for an AA build, then good God, the AA DPM of this thing could be quite competitive. But yeah, the Republic, mighty fine tier 10 ship. Anyway, moving on to the number 5 position, which is the tier 8 German battleship Bismarck. Yeah, I had to debate between the Bismarck or the Tirpitz here, but I decided to go with the Bismarck because the Bismarck, I love this thing. she was the first tier 8 that I got to and went through that I didn't feel like I was grinding. I just felt like I was having fun. You know, she's really tanky, German armor, and she's got 4 15-inch guns, really strong secondaries on this thing. She has pretty decent AA when it's not knocked out. She's really fast too, coming in at 31 knots. That's really fast for tier 8. And you know, can throw the speed flag on there and make her even faster. And she's pretty stealthy too. I mean, 14 kilometers without the captain concealment skill on there. That's pretty stealthy for a tier 8 German. That's pretty stealthy for Germans, period. But yeah, she's really fast, and I've just had a blast in this thing ever since I unlocked her and upgraded her. And I mean, what more can I say? Wasn't more need to be said about the Bismarck? Well, one of her major downsides is her torpedo protection. You know, 24% torpedo damage reduction. As you saw earlier, the Arizona at tier 6 had 39%. So, it's not that great. But, I mean, as fun as this ship is to play, it's a forgiving, you know, it has to be balanced. It's forgivable, totally. And her main battery guns, you know, good old German dispersion, they're not that accurate at range, but when you move in close, boy, is this ship great. She's an amazing brawler. Probably pretty close for the best brawler at tier 8. Her competition will be further down in this list. Oh, that's quite ironic. I just looked down at my list. Moving on to number 4 is the tier 8 American premium battleship, the Massachusetts. Yes, I have been in love with this ship since the day it came out. It's like the Alabama, except someone took a big hammer to the 16-inch guns, and someone gave the secondary battery loaders a bunch of steroids. So it's in pretty much every way, shape, and form an Alabama or North Carolina, if you will. But the main battery guns are less accurate, and their range is only 18.1 kilometers. But the secondary guns reload in 3.7 seconds instead of 5 seconds, and have a 10-kilometer range if you build them up to it. In terms of AA, they're pretty much the same. I don't have an AA build on this thing. I have a secondary build, and my AA rating is at 94. So if I threw the AA module on there, the AA will be well over 100. And she has a little bit less torpedo damage reduction at 48 instead of 50%, but still 48% at tier 8. That's pretty good. And her secondaries are really nice. It's like having an Atlanta strap to the side of your ship. They're really good for starting fires, and this is the ship I was talking about with the Bismarck. This ship can give Bismarck a run for her money in terms of brawling. Now, of course, she only has 32 millimeters of armor all the way around, so she can't tank like Bismarck, but she has 9 16-inch guns versus Bismarck's 8 15-inch guns. So, you know, obviously bigger guns, more of them, they're going to do more damage. But in terms of tanking, Bismarck's better. In terms of damage per DPM and damage overall, I would have to give it to the Massachusetts. So yeah, now that fire in the comment section has started, let's go ahead and move on to number 3, which is the Japanese tier 10 battleship, the Yamato. Or Yamato. Someone told me I was saying it wrong, so I just say both of them now. This is the legend. 18.1-inch guns can pin the bow of any battleship in the game, except the curve first kind of gives it a little trouble because of the way the curve first bow armor's setup is laid out, but it can still do it. She's big, slow, a nice target for carriers, but boy is she fun to play. This is the ship where if you're just an average player, that by far you're going to get most of your deletions with this ship, where you just fire at a full health cruiser or even battleship sometimes and just watch their health disappear, and it'll leave you chuckling along the way. So her turrets take about a year to turn. Actually, they're not that bad anymore. They recently buffed them, and you can get the legendary module, which I am working up to, along with Yamato, and both will decrease the turret rotation time, so it's not so bad anymore. And she has pretty decent secondaries if you build them up, which I have. I have like a secondary main battery build going on here, and her secondaries are pretty dang good. She's got a lot of them, and they sting when they make contact with, destroyers and cruisers. Not so much against other battleships, but you can certainly brawl with this thing. Just know you really need to anticipate your opponent's moves when you brawl on Yamato, because like I said, you got to get those turrets swinging around in plenty of time. And she is probably the easiest tier 10 to Citadel, because her Citadel is quite high. So if anything gets close to you, it's going to Citadel the Yamato pretty easily. She also has really good torpedo protection with 56% torpedo damage reduction. That's really nice. As I said before, she's slow. She's not that maneuverable. So while you can dodge torpedoes, boy, you better hope there's a big hole, because this is a big old ship. She has a lot of health too, 97,000 hit points. That's really nice. And her guns have the best Sigma out of all the battleships, coming in at 2.1. So that is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is the American Tier 9 battleship, Iowa. Yeah, this is runner-up for my favorite ship in the game, and for a very long time this was my favorite ship in the game until I got to the number 1 ship on this list. But let's talk about Iowa first. 3 16-inch guns. They are pretty dang accurate if you throw the accuracy module on there. She is a really fast battleship, coming in at 33 knots before you throw the speed flag on her. Before the French battleship showed up, Iowa was the fastest battleship in the game, and she is still pretty dang fast. It doesn't require a speed boost to get up over 34 knots. She's really stealthy too. You can get her concealment down to around 13 kilometers. I just don't have the concealment module on her because I moved my high point American battleship captain over to the Montana when I unlocked the Montana. So my Iowa captain is a bit lacking in some departments. She also has amazing AA if you build for it. Well over 100. Carriers will just straight out avoid you when you play Iowa. And she's a little squishy on the sides. They did lower the Citadel of the Iowa, the Montana, the North Carolina quite some time ago, so it's not as squishy as when I first started playing her, but still pretty squishy. However, from the front, she can, of course, bow tank pretty much anything. You can do the good old Iowa two-step, where you point your bow at the enemy and slam it in reverse, and with her concealment, you will pretty much just disappear right in front of them. It's quite hilarious to do, actually. So she's fast, but she's not... She's pretty maneuverable. Just, she has to make a big old turn. She's got a huge turning radius of 920 meters. That's big. So while her rudder shift time isn't slow, it does take her quite... She needs some space, to just turn around. But anyway, that's the Iowa, and now let's move on to the number 1 spot, which is, if those of you that watch my channel should know what's coming here, the Tier 10 German battleship, the Grosser Kurfürst. I fell in love with this ship after I finally unlocked her. I love brawling, I love getting in close, and the Kurfürst is perfect for that. Yes, the Republic secondaries do have a better DPM and time to kill, but the Republic just doesn't have the armor the Kurfürst has, which you do need at close range. At close range, when you start to angle, you need armor to bounce shells and such, and the Republic simply can't do that because it only has 32 millimeters of armor all the way around, where the Kurfürst, her belt armor is 380 millimeters. That's a lot of armor. And her bow armor is 60 millimeters, but she has a little sliver of 32 millimeters above the waterline, and below the waterline she does have just the normal 32 millimeters. That is why it's difficult for Yamato to pierce the bow armor of the Kurfürst. Her main battery guns, you do still have German dispersion, but instead of only having 8 guns in total, you have 12 guns now. And yes, she only has a maximum range of 20 kilometers, but honestly, with the dispersion, you're not going to be hitting much past 18 kilometers. And since you do have 12 guns, that does, that's more shells you're throwing at the enemy ships, and more chance for you to hit stuff. She can be seen from space. She has a detection range of 15.9 kilometers. That's with the concealment module, and I believe... Okay, I don't have the concealment skill on the captain just yet, but that will bring it down by another 14%. So while it will be better, it's still, this is an easily visible ship. So And she does have pretty good AA when it isn't all burnt off. So it does have quite a few things going for it, and of course in true German tradition she does only have, I believe, 27% torpedo damage. Yep, 27% torpedo damage reduction. So there's a lot of drawbacks to this thing, but there's also a lot of pros to it. Like I've said, the armor, the guns, the secondaries, the amount of hit points this thing has. Those hit points in the game, 105,800 hit points. That's a lot. And I just have a blast in this ship when I take her out, when I'm not being spammed by HE. I made a separate video on that. But yeah, she's my number one, and she's by far I've had a ton of fun with her, and I've actually gotten my highest amount of damage in this thing, which I believe is 275,000 damage. That may not seem like a whole lot to some of you guys, but for you know me, I'm not a Unicum player or anything. I don't go sweaty try hard. So that's a lot of damage in my book. But anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. And again, thank you all so much for getting us to 354 subscribers already. And if you like the video, drop a like and subscribe and help us get on to 400. Which, that'd be really cool if we get it done by the end of this week, by like Thursday or Friday or something. That'd be amazing. But anyway, again, thank you all so very, very much for watching. Catch y'all in the next one.